we also have to see things from their point of view, where they are. And it's really almost like holy ground to be with a student who's sharing their story. So thank you for sharing with me those moments. When I saw the title of today's plenary, I was like, wait a minute, action research, dissertation writing, academic writing in about 35 minutes. So I'm taking a different approach. Please be patient with me. You will see it connected in the end. But I'm going to ask you to choose a partner, preferably someone you don't know, but you may all know each other. I'd like you to find someone, sit with that person just for about 10 minutes. I will tell you what you will do with those 10 minutes. So just find someone that you can talk to. So you have partners. You have a lady here by herself. You need a partner. Please, 2 people together, only 2. This young lady right here, do you have a partner? Pardon me, por favor. Good morning. You need a partner, please? Okay, so you have someone? The gentleman in the back? It's going to go very fast, so you need to have your partner now so we can begin. Okay. Do I just...
The adults, they can...
Maybe I should start with a little explanation. I was teaching at Andrews University. I was the first chair, and then they changed it director for English as a foreign language, as a second language. We say in the States, a foreign language from here. And the seminary students would study for their doctorate degrees for maybe 2 years, 3 years, and then the time would come, they have to write. And they can't put the words on paper. And so the seminary dean and I talked about it, and we created a program called Recharge. Recharge meaning here's someone who's studying for a doctorate, and they never finished. Have you ever heard of PhD, ABD? It's you finish your doctorate all but dissertation. And the seminary told me that they are sure that it's international students. So for $100, for 5 days, we had classes called Recharge so that they could start thinking to write. The first 4 days we had activities. The 5th day, if you wrote 1 chapter, I agreed to edit your chapter for your dissertation. So incentive as well. So the first morning I walked in, I counted 27 students. They're supposed to be international students. 3 were from outside the United States. 24 American students could not write their dissertation. They couldn't put words on paper. So if you have students in your writing classes and they just cannot put words on paper, I'm just going to share a few ideas with you today, instead of the whole subject, but I will share a little bit about each one. So the first activity, I want you to turn to the partner. So don't do it now, just watch, okay? And truly, I don't even remember your name. So your microphone, what is your name?
Nadia.
And my name is Jeanette. Who are you?
It's a big question. Who am I?
So answer by saying, I am the kind of person who. So who are you? I am the kind, I'm sorry, I'm so used to the chalkboard and the whiteboard, I want to write on it, but it's like, who are you? I am the kind of person who.
Okay. I am the kind of person who likes to exercise to release stress. I'm the kind of person who likes to be with people but also likes alone time. I'm the kind of person who enjoys making food for people.
Try 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Diana, you're going to tell us when 3 minutes is up, please. Okay? She's already done at least a minute, so
Yeah,
we'll
okay.
we'll just do a little more.
Okay. I'm the kind of person who, this is really difficult, who finds it difficult to express her feelings on the spot. But I am the kind of person who likes to think about what she wants to say before she says it. I'm the kind of person who...
Time.
3 minutes, wow. That was a quick
I'm
3
saying
minutes.
time.
Yep.
I'm making it quick 3.
Yep.
But I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't smile, I didn't laugh, I didn't frown, I just listened.
Oof.
It's a real skill to just listen. And then I say, thank you. And then the hard part, she's going to say, and who are you?
And who are you?
I'm the kind of person who likes to travel. I enjoy actually being in an environment where I don't know the language and try to figure things out. I like adventure. I'm a risk taker. I think I like the color, kind of a sea green color. I like that color. I'm nervous when I'm up in front, but I still do it. I enjoy walking on the beach, as I said in my thing, and I enjoy visiting with my grandchildren. I'm the kind of person that I think I'm people-oriented, but I think I'm task-oriented. So I like to, what I'm supposed to do and then get the task done, and then I feel I'm okay. I'm okay talking to strangers. Diana, it's 3 minutes. Time. I'm sorry. Diana was my student at Washington Adventist University. She's also someone here working on her master's in English, so I'm not picking on a stranger. She's been in my home many times. So thank you. So then tell me thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, the first time that I participated in this activity was at San Diego State University. Our guest speaker and I went to school in San Diego, 2 different universities. But we had to do it for 45 minutes. And the reason is that you get beyond my favorite color, or I like to walk on the beach, then you get into this frustrates me, this angers me, and so on. So before I tell you more, I'd like you to try with your partner. And Diana, maybe you can come up. And so the first question is, if you don't know the person, what is your name would be good. And then who are you? Let them talk. You don't respond, you just listen. Say thank you. And then the person says, who are you? Diana, are you okay to be the timekeeper?
Is it 3 minutes each or 3 minutes in total?
It's 3 minutes each, just so you can get the experience. But remember, it can be 45 minutes, but we're only being kind, 3 minutes each. Okay, so hello, who are you? Thank you, and who are you? Thank you. So we'll start at this time. So please ask your partner, who are you?
We can complete it. Do you have a timer? Oh, yeah. No, it's okay, that works.
So are you okay? There's also 3 people here. It doesn't work with 3. 3 people? But there's 3 there too. It doesn't work with 3. It's okay.
Yes, you start now. The timer is going. Yeah.
Okay, you may begin. Sir, would you like a partner?
Thank you.
Many of my uncles.
Live with other people to know their culture. Um,
In English.
I consider I am.
the type of person who jokes a lot. I'm the type of person also who
Hesitant at the beginning, but when they warm up, like yesterday, my first activity was like, go, go.
Decided to write from Monday.
Pardon me, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you with somebody if you didn't want to.
Yo soy de la comisión organizadora, no participo. Muchas gracias. Ahí está.
Okay, 3, 2, and 1.
Please say thank you and who are you to the other person.
So 3 more minutes again.
But it's one person's and now the other person.
So 3 minutes again.
Yeah. Please
And
begin.
go.
I'm the kind of person
Is it working okay
That-
with three? Or you're just listening?
that enjoy cooking for people.
Oh my god, I can believe it.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person that
Maybe you can invite me to your home.
Yeah, maybe
Maybe if you want to buy,
My
you have to
specialty-
buy fresh because I love fish. Continue. I'm so sorry.
ceviche, fried fish, whatever.
Look at the board.
Yeah, I know. They were quick, weren't they?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Time. Be sure to say thank you to the person that just spoke. Thank you. It's difficult, right? Muy difícil. It was difficult. Yeah, because you don't want to tell everything about how you feel. Believe me, in 45 minutes, you start talking about what makes you upset, what doesn't make you upset. You run out of things to say. But if you are going to do research of any kind, you need to know yourself first. That's one of the reasons that we do this activity, is so that you know who you are. If you try, okay, Parker Palmer wrote a really good book on the courage to teach, where he says to teach people and not a subject, but he also has written a book called Let Your Life Speak. Let Your Life Speak. And if we try to teach or write, let me say write, because we're talking about writing research. If we decide to write something we don't know anything about, we don't have any interest in, we have no passion for it, it makes it a chore, and you don't get it done. You have to be humble about yourself, but be hungry to share what you have learned and who you are. And if you can share from inside of who you are, you will choose a topic that will be much better. One day, a doctoral student came to my office. They sent him from the seminary to go and see me. He's from Papua New Guinea. He was so angry that the people from 2 other countries were running his church, that his writing was anger. All of it was just anger. And so we put it aside, and I asked him, what is really going on? And he shared from his heart. And then he could turn around and put it in writing and make a difference in his country. So you will help other people find themselves, and you will find yourself, and your writing will be much better. This activity was in pairs, and I want to thank you. I heard people say, I'm a dreamer, I'm this, I'm that. It was very interesting. I enjoyed listening to your comments. Now I want you to just think on your own. You're going to just sit back and think on your own. If I were rich and free, if I could do anything in the world, what is my dream? By the way, I want to thank the AV people, IT, that was amazing. If you wouldn't mind putting it back on for 3 minutes, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. So, what is your dream? What do you know about your dream? So, I think it can say, if I were rich and free, maybe we'd all follow our dreams. So, the main thing is, my dream is. This is just for you. maybe it's okay to go ahead and say the time is up. It'll be okay, because I want to be able to finish before lunchtime. Okay. So, now ask yourself, what do you know about that dream project? Some of you were here this morning when I shared that I lived in Africa, and I will share one of my dreams. I was living in a town 200 miles inland in Ghana, West Africa, and I learned the language. I learned 3 dialects of the language, and that was in 1970 to 74. Okay, I'm very old, yes. So then, not too long ago, actually, I went to Jamaica. And because you know from the story that I was left single, and so my vacations were not so comfortable anymore because we didn't have family. And so I joined Vacations to Save. So I went on a vacation to save to Jamaica. And I'm carrying the block on my head. I know how to make the kata and carry blocks on my head and line the dry well. And I learned how to mix cement and all those things. So the Jamaicans were watching me because we were 20 Americans and 20 Jamaicans rebuilding a summer camp. And then I could hear the language. And I was like, why am I hearing among the Rastas Ghanaian languages 200 miles inland in Ghana? And so I began to study. So my dream was to find the connection between the Asantes of Ghana, the Coromantes of Ghana, and what I learned about the Coromantes of Jamaica. And so one of my dreams is to do a cultural study of the Coromantes of Jamaica and the Coromantes of Ghana. That's me. What is your dream? What do you know about your dream? Frankly, I didn't know much about Jamaica. I knew a lot about the Ghana culture and the Kwa language groups and all of that. And so you have to ask yourself, what do you know about this subject? And those of you who have taken teacher education know the KWL. KWL, what is K? What do I know? W, what would I like to learn? And then afterwards, what you learned. So anyway, it's a subject of interest to me, so I won't tell you all the things I've learned. But believe me, that's the first step to know yourself, know your area of interest, know your own skills. My dissertation, I used both quantitative and qualitative. At first, I thought there's no way I'm going to do quantitative. 5 doctoral statistics classes, not going to do it. But I ended up using mixed method. And my dissertation I shared when I was here at the first national convention, and that's, how to grow a school. But believe me, your dream project needs to be something that you know something about and would like to know something about it, and then be able to share what you've learned. Facts are easy to collect. Someone over here said knowledge. That's not easy to collect. You can collect facts, but knowledge is very different. So when you choose your subject, whether you're doing an action research project, a dissertation, academic project of any kind, you need to know your subject and you need to know your ability. We say when we do research that we need to use books, right? No. Today, people, at least in the States, everybody's carrying their phones and their iPods, and they're searching Google. And so it's not just from books, it's not just from the internet. In fact, for my research class, you cannot use Google sources. You can actually go through Google to find the source, but then you have to go get the source, right? You get into primary and secondary sources and all of that. But there's a really good book. I'm not going to do this, so don't get worried. It's called Teaching Naked. And it's a very interesting book. It's not a brand new book. It's probably, 6 or 7 years old? Have you read it? It's called Teaching Naked. And that means that students today want you to give them an assignment, believe it or not. They're willing to do assignments. They just don't want you to tell them how to do it. So you let them go and do the assignment. They can do it on the internet, they can do it in the library, they can talk to people, it can be experiential. But when they come to class, no books, no computers, no iPads, no telephone, nothing. And that's why it's called teaching naked, because you're there without any assistance. The grade is based on the contribution they make in class. So you might have a seating chart and just mark off, when they contribute. But the point is, let the student learn in the way that's best for them. So it's called teaching naked, and it actually does work if you let your students choose their own medium of gaining knowledge. But then what is the role of the English teacher when it comes, to writing research? I don't know if you're familiar with all the different forms that were on this list that was given to me, like action research. Are you familiar with action research? What is action research? Any idea? Most of you are teachers in the classroom, right? And while you're teaching, we have a rule, I call it a rule anyway, it's the 20-20-60 rule. 60% of your students want to do what you're asking them to do. 20% really never will. And the 20% are in the middle, and you're trying to get them, to go with you, okay? So you notice one particular student just always fidgeting, and you decide to get better acquainted with that student. Then you decide that maybe you'll buy them what's now called a fidget ball, and you buy a fidget ball, give it to that student, and observe if there's any changes. That's action research. You saw a need, you created an invention, you saw if the invention worked, and then you wrote it up. It's a very simple introduction to research, and students like doing it. And so I know one teacher I observed a number of times. In her classroom, she taught third grade. She is teaching third grade in Washington, D.C., Tacoma Park, Maryland, actually, where I live. And she had a classroom of fidgety kids. And I would take my students from the university to observe her classroom, and it was like, what is she doing about these fidgety kids? And then we saw what she did. She actually got people to donate money, and she bought high chairs. She bought 2 balls, actual big balls that you can sit on. And she bought low chairs, and she bought tables. She totally changed her classroom so that the students could choose, and each week they had a different way of sitting in the classroom. Did it work? Yes. So that's an action research project. And it's simple because you saw something, you saw some steps that might work, and you did it, you tried it, and you wrote what worked and what didn't work. And sometimes your ideas don't work. Maybe the kid with the fidgety ball starts throwing it around the room. So sometimes it doesn't work. And it's okay for research not to come out the way you want it to. It's okay. And the second thing that we need, so the first thing is to know yourself. Second is to know what you really know something about, what you would like to know, and your ability to learn about it. The next is to be able to give a source. I happened to be a high school English teacher before I went on for my master's in English education. Then I went to Andrews and got my doctorate in curriculum and instruction. Then I changed and got it in administration because I ended up doing administrative things, okay? So, dear me. This is going to be kind of funny. I'm going to try, help me if you don't understand, okay? So, most of us have been to the dentist, right? So your student asks you about mercury in the filling. You're an English teacher. It's okay that you don't know. And it's okay for me not to write a dissertation or even write an academic paper on mercury in your fillings or type of dental work that you do, because I'm not a dentist. But we will go on the internet, read somebody's blog, or read what somebody wrote, and we'll quote them, and we don't even know who they are. So source, you have to know who the person is, what authority do they bring to say what they're saying, and so choosing valid sources is the next step in most research. What makes a good writer? I think for me it's attention to detail. I don't know if I've been here long enough to ask questions, but if you have a class, just note certain items. And then when the students are sitting down, just ask them, how many windows are in this room? How many doors? Essay eventually by Wednesday, and then expand that into the expanded research. Don't be afraid of writing an academic paper. Just follow that same simple format, and when you teach students, also teach them just the simple thing, like what we said, who are you? I'm the kind of person who. You could actually then have the students sit down and write who they talked to, sorry. Tell them something about the person they talked to. Then the next day you do something else, and then the details. And so you build so that you take away what I consider the greatest barrier to writing research. I went online trying to find stuff, and I found this list of barriers to writing, and I was like, wow, how can I talk about that? There's too many things. But some of them are simply fear, just afraid to put the words on paper. And let me think what I put down here. I really feel more comfortable with people asking questions when it comes to research, because you really can't talk about all these different types of research. So I'm going to close with a paragraph rather, and I'd really like you to ask questions because I am able to answer them. I'm an interactive school teacher. I'm not a lecture person. I do better with a few ideas and activities, and then you ask questions. But I wrote this paragraph for you to think about. It's actually based on something from an author by the name of Purnell, and it has to do with making it personal. So basing your decision on what's right and possible, even for research, is not always popular. Some people look at the potential failure, express their reasons why we can't write that, can't do that. But as you depend on the Lord in tough situations, He loves to turn the impossible into the possible. When you're doing research, keep that in mind. It looks impossible. I never thought I'd pass statistics classes. You may think you will never pass certain classes. I'll never be able to do this research. But don't let the naysayers get the best of you. God can change extremely harsh situations and not necessarily places of victory. He just loves to turn our impossibilities into possibilities. This sounds a little weird, but hang around people who build you up and motivate you to trust God for the impossible. Read about what happened to Caleb. Remember that faith has rewards for those who live expectantly, expecting that God will show you. And so, I'm going to say this, and I hope you'll understand, but when I was first asked to speak for this convention, I thought I was going to just do workshops since I was a plenary speaker at the last one. And I turned in 10 possible topics, and they turned them around to presentations throughout these 2 days. And so I've missed 3 presentations yesterday and the 1 plenary I did today. What I will do is put into an electronic form, I have copies, so that your USB port, the little flash drive that you take home, it will have the handouts for determining a topic, honing down your dissertation. There's all kinds of research backup information that I have here, and it will be there for your use. So it'll be on the USB. So the workshops that I had, I'm sorry I cannot do the simulation. There's no way that I can do bafa, so on the internet. But the things I was supposed to share, I will share, and it will be on the USB port. And so at this point, I'd like to ask if there's just anything that anyone who's a professor here in the auditorium, including Professor Christian, if someone has questions about research or how to help students with research, I'd really be open to just a question and answer time.
Cool. So, yes, let's give her a round of applause. Oh, you're happy to move? She's independent. I like it.